Long Shan's face darkened as he glared at Hanju with an expression of obvious displeasure. Hello everyone, I am Long Shan, son of the Heavenly Emperor. Ever since that great battle forced him to advance his realm, he had been crushed utterly. He didn't know how many hardships he endured, how many elixirs and protein powders he consumed before finally breaking through to the Tai true immortal realm. And yet Hanju, who only hid an immortal realm to cultivate, had. He pointed at Hanju's retreating back with murderous intent and shouted, "Stop right there. Are you telling the truth?" Hanju, hearing this, halted and replied, "I, Hanju, have never lied." A cold light flickered in Longshan's eyes. "Fine, I believe you." The moment he finished speaking, Longshan hastily fled like smoke, but not before calling back loudly as he glanced over his shoulder, "Our team reached the golden immortal realm, and now challenges you. I'll step into the profound immortal realm one step ahead of you." Hanju watched his departing figure speechless. He thought to himself, this guy still has some sense. Longshan ran off, feeling aggrieved. Tears streamed down like a river. Hanju felt a little helpless and thought quietly, this is good. That way he'll be less wounded. When he returns he won't blab about me to the Heavenly Emperor. Let this battle end in such a pleasant way. In front of Hanju's cave dwelling. Shichuan sighed, looking in its direction. As she turned, a familiar figure suddenly caught her eye. By the tree, Hanju asked, "Master, where are you headed?" Shichuan stammered in response, "I'm going back to seclude myself." Hanju smiled slightly and moved his lips. "Secluding my cultivation has too low an efficiency. Before I supervised disciples' cultivation, now my disciple has achievements. Of course I should repay that." Hearing this, Shichuan opened her eyes wide in surprise. "This. I." Hanju looped his arms around Shichuan's waist and lifted her up, startling her. He carried her straight toward the cave dwelling. Black-held chicken peered toward the cave entrance and muttered, "It's just dual cultivation. You needn't think of anything improper." Kim O squinted and pointed toward the cave, suggesting, "Maybe send word to the mistress. Tell her the mistress is about to be stolen away by someone else." Hearing that, Black-held chicken hurriedly warned, "Don't." The scene shifted. Someone unknown tossed a stone that made it skip across the water. Atop the waterfall, a figure sitting on a high crag spoke up. "Many reincarnations. Still you can't see through everything?" The figure seated below hesitated and said, "Do you really want it that way?" The person sitting on the high crag was Mafuchio. He stared firmly toward the waterfall and said determinedly, "Ji Xianxun has transcended. Han brothers have become immortal gods." He grew a bit excited as he continued, "There is no one in this world who can match the two of us. Why don't you and I seize the title of number one under heaven, contest the fate energy, and ascend to the immortal realm?" Jufan's eyes dimmed. Mafuchio suddenly cut him off. "If you are afraid, then find some place and hide to cultivate. Maybe there's hope to become like Han brothers." Hearing this, Jufan gasped and looked up at him. "You?" He clenched his fist and slammed it down hard, sending rocks flying. "If you want to charge forward, then I will charge forward with you. In previous lives you took care of me. In this life I'll risk my life with you." Satisfied with that answer, Mafuchio leapt down from the crag behind Jufan. "Good. I wasn't wrong about you. We'll begin our journey from the celestial immortal mansion." He smiled and spoke. "Aren't they trying to chase us down and kill us? We'll go straight to their doorstep and beat them so they can't react." Jufan's eyes flashed cold as he answered decisively, "All right. It's not far." Someone nearby unintentionally saw this scene. That person was Schwan. She muttered, clutching herself, "Damn it. What is that brat Jufan up to now?" She remembered that in recent days she had been secretly following and protecting the two of them, so they could live carefree. She must step in and subdue him, and threaten all those men. Schwan thought to herself that if she continued protecting them like this, her virtue might wane. She feared her path of cultivation would weaken and that ascension would become hopeless. She took trembling steps forward. She had to persuade that brat Jufan not to stay with that Mafuchio. At that moment, Schwan suddenly heard Jufan shout loudly, "My brother speaks truly. Love only hinders the path of cultivation." Schwan was stunned. She widened her eyes in disbelief. "Jufan, you," she recalled what Schwan Qingjuan had said. "For the demon clan's plan, my young sister had to bitterly stay in the mortal world with Jufan. If the main opportunity presents itself, it's best to bring him along for a scent." Then Schwan folded her hands before her chest without hesitation and replied, "Senior sister, rest assured. I guarantee I will complete the mission." She recalled the time when she had saved Jufan and Ma Fuchio while both were wounded. Jufan had stared at her in shock, eyes wide. "Senior Schwan." Looking at the beast's head crushed beneath Schwan's foot, Jufan panicked and staggered backward, shouting, "Senior Schwan, why? Why is it you?" And then, later, when he was reborn as a mere child still reeking of milk, Jufan had looked up at Schwan and stammered, "Wait a second. I remember now. I met you in a past life. Even though we've both reincarnated, you still managed to find me?" Schwan had answered calmly, "Of course." Years later, after he grew up, Jufan held a rose in his mouth, trying to look masculine though it was unbearably corny, and asked, "Senior Schwan, could it be? You have feelings for me? Age is not a problem, after all." Sensing her anger, he quickly said, "I'm joking." Then one day, Schwan sat behind Jufan, tending his wounds as she said, "If you had the chance, would you be willing to ascend to the immortal realm with me?" Jufan turned his head, delighted. "There's really such a good thing? Then at that time, I'll have to rely on you, Senior Schwan." He rummaged through his pack, saying, "To thank you for taking care of me all these years. I want to give you this gift." Schwan froze. "Huh!" He smiled brightly. "I'm still not that skilled. I ruined a few while carving. I hope you won't despise it." A moment later, Jufan produced a roughly carved wooden bird, so ugly it was unbearable. "You must know, this was my special skill in my previous life. It's a gift only given to true friends. Please accept it." Schwan held the little carved bird, speechless. "What is this supposed to be?" Jufan raised his thumb proudly. "Super Birdman." Schwan couldn't help blurting out, "So ugly. Why does it have two mouths?" Jufan hurriedly explained, "Don't pay attention to such unimportant details." Schwan hugged the carved bird to her chest, smiling with crescent-shaped eyes. "Then I'll reluctantly accept it." Jufan rubbed his head and laughed happily. In that moment, the bond between them was pure, untainted by any ulterior thoughts. Back to the present, Schwan stood rooted in place. Every word Jufan had just said echoed in her ears. "My brother, rest assured. Unless we shake the heavens and earth of the mortal world, unless we let the immortals above see the talent of the two of us, I will absolutely not ascend so easily." Schwan was stunned. So, it had only been her own wishful thinking. She closed her eyes halfway, her heart whispering, "The demon clan in the mortal world has long since been destroyed. The so-called plan my senior sister spoke of no longer exists. Moreover, the enemies these two brats provoke each time only grow stronger. At this point, I can hardly help them at all, instead of wasting myself here." Schwan placed the little wooden bird Jufan once gave her on a rock by the tree root, then turned and left. Better to ascend to the upper realm and find senior sister. The vast green forest fell into utter silence. By the clear waterfall, where the water poured down in rippling waves, Malfuccio, who had just been fired up, suddenly fell silent. He sat beside Jufan, eyes closed, and spoke softly, "Her aura is already far away. Weren't we acting a bit too much?" Jufan asked uncertainly. "She left?" Malfuccio nodded. Jufan murmured under his breath, "It's fine that she left." He sighed deeply, then patted Jufan's shoulder. "Enough, brother. Don't force it anymore. For her, this too is a kind of release. The Tao of both of us was destined to face the trial of love. Being able to let go is also a good thing." Jufan could no longer hold back his tears. He thought to himself, "Senior Schwan, on this path of cultivation, I've owed too many people. I owe Brother Mal. I owe junior sister. So many debts I can't even remember them all. So many that one life, 2 lives, will never be enough to repay. You could have ascended already. But because of me, you were trapped in the mortal world. If someday I can repay all these debts, perhaps there will still be a chance for me to ascend. Thinking of Schwan's mischievous expression, Chu Fan couldn't help but murmur, "What I owe you, I will repay little by little when I reach the upper realm." He sat there in silence, his back turned, his lonely figure appearing all the more desolate.